providing for them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the one that providing for them the ability to breathe, to live, to eat and drink, to lift their hands and to put it down, and all of this thing, the ability for you to play and to run, it's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how ignorant a person can be when he's not grateful to Allah, when he does not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore we have to be truthful with Allah. And what does that mean is that we all claim, or we all want to enter Jannah, for example. We all want to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Are we lying when we say this? Or are we honest and truthful when we say this? Right? Anybody can claim anything, correct? Am I boring you or not yet? If someone says about himself, I am honest, I am honest, I am honest, and he keeps saying I'm honest the whole day, does that make him honest? No, right? Just saying it does not make you an honest person. If you say I'm truthful, I'm truthful, I'm truthful, does it make you a truthful one? No. What makes you a truthful person or honest person? What you say and what your actions are, right? And what's in your heart. So I'll give you an example. If someone wants to build a masjid, right? And he's making a fundraising for people. You know, we're gonna build this masjid, this nice masjid in that area. MashaAllah, it's going to be a beautiful masjid for people to come and pray and learn and so on, right? And he took the money from the people and he kept saying, we'll build the masjid, we'll build the masjid, we'll build the masjid, inshallah. And they all got the money and they made a committee and now they're supposed to start working, right? And they purchased all the equipment, right? Say for an example, for the sake of the example, that they purchased everything, all the material they purchased it and they put it on the land of the masjid. But then they sat next to it and they're just not doing anything, right? People will say, go ahead, start building the masjid. They said, we'll build the masjid. We will build the masjid. Definitely, masjid will be the best masjid. But then they're sitting every day, they come and they sit like this, next to the materials, and everything is ready, right? And it's easy for them to do it, but they're not doing anything. And then when someone asks them, they would say, we'll build it, don't worry, it's going to be a nice masjid. Are they being truthful or they're lying? They're lying, right? If they're honest, they will do something, right? So when someone says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, right? They have to do something, right? It is not just sufficient to say it. We have to be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does La ilaha illallah mean? There is no one worthy of worship except Allah. Who's the only one that should be worshipped? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what worship means? Ibadah means what? Like to pray is a worship, is an act of worship. What else is an act of worship? Okay, I'll let you, since we said heart, tongue, and parts of our bodies, tell me an act of worship that you do with your heart. What is it? Reading Quran is an act of worship, mashallah. This is with your tongue, right? And in your heart too. Tell me one act of worship that you do it with your heart, and it's not necessarily something that you do physically. Only your heart. Intentions, mashallah. Intentions is an act of worship done by your heart. Nobody knows what's in your heart, right? So this is an act of worship. For you to be having the sincere intention, you have to do it with your heart. You have to be truthful in this. What's another act of worship that should be done in your heart? A shahada, to believe in it, right? So this is something to be done with your heart. Tell me something that you would do an act of worship with your body, for example. You have to move and things like this. Fasting, dhikr with your tongue and your heart, praying, right? So if you keep on saying, I fear Allah, right? Fear of Allah, is it in your heart or in your tongue or you do something? In your heart, right? When you fear Allah, it's in your heart. When you say, I love Allah, I love Allah, I love Allah, it's in your heart, right? But does it show in your actions? Yes. Meaning, if someone says, I fear Allah, but he lies and he neglects his salah and he commits sins, so he says, I fear Allah. Is he being honest and truthful? No, right? Because if he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he won't do these things. But does that mean that those who commit sins they don't fear Allah, and that means we all don't fear Allah, because we have to make some, mistakes is something that is part of our life. The believers, whenever they fall into mistake, they immediately, what make them repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately is what is the fear of Allah and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on. Right? So this is the essence of knowing that to be honest and truthful is not something that you would say with your tongue. It's not a feeling that you get. It's your entire life has to prove that you are a truthful person. Right? So to be truthful in saying La ilaha illallah, that means you would worship only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to the point of fear, what things in this life that you guys fear? Be honest, it's okay. Anybody has fear of darkness? When the lights are turned off, you get scared? Okay, mashallah, an honest person back there, mashallah. Right? We all have to go through that stage, right, in our life. There's nothing wrong, right, if you fear something. Do you fear mouse and rats and things like this? If a lion walks into this room, are you guys gonna be afraid of the lion, or you don't care, we just sit, watch what the lion is going to do? What's gonna happen if the lion walks into this room? We'll be all scared, correct? Is that something bad, or it's a good thing? It's a good thing, right? There is healthy fear, because if a child maybe a few months old, he doesn't know what the lion does, he might just run, to the lion. The lion will eat him, right? So it's a healthy fear to feel what is harmful for you, right? So this is not what we're talking about. But the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, is when you, as an act of worship, it makes you away from what displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to be honest in being or having the fear of Allah, that means that it shows in our actions and speech. The same thing with the intentions, to be truthful with our intentions, to be truthful with the love of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said a verse in the Quran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِ يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ, which means, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you love Allah, then follow me, follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would love you. All human beings on the face of earth, they all claim that they love Allah. And this is where the truthfulness comes in place. They all say that. They say we love Allah. But they say that we love Allah, we love God, whatever there is, right? But is it only by speech? No, if you truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, then follow the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Otherwise, your speech has no value to it whatsoever. It does not benefit you if you say I love Allah and you don't follow the way of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, right? So again, to be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that when we say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, the only one that we worship is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we need to know what worship is, so that we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly with these acts of worship, whether it's something done by our heart, like the fear of Allah, the love of Allah, and so on, whether it's something that we say with our tongue, whether it's something that we do physically, like our salah, and so on, and that to follow the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, otherwise we're not being very truthful, we're not being very honest, right? But something to make it very easy for us, right? And I want the method to be very easy, right? If you make it upon yourself, are you ready? If you make it upon yourself, very, very strict in this, never say a word unless you're truthful and honest, even if they will cut you into pieces, right? Be truthful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you from all harm, inshallah, right? What I'm saying is anything that you say with your tongue, okay, anything. It's not just when you're talking to your parents and you did something bad and you're in trouble, so you're trying to get away from it, so you would lie. This is of course bad and evil. If you're honest and truthful and you're punished, eventually you will be a good person. It will pay off for you. If you lie, it will give you, the outcome is not good. But this is not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the truthfulness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When in our day, the action that we do, that we say things, not to human beings, but only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that is hearing us, or supposed to. This is what we think, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears us. What I'm trying to say is, when you make salah, when you stand in the salah, who are you talking to? When you say Allahu Akbar, when you say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, who are you talking to? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? That's what happens when a person in the salah says Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say to that person? You know this hadith? There's a hadith that says Hamadani Abdi, mashallah. When you, every time, every single person, right? Not just one time in your life, not one person every salah, every single person. When he stands in the salah, and he says Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to that person, my slave, Hamadani Abdi, my slave praised me. When you say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Anyone? Majjadani Abdi, right? Which means my slave praised me or exalted me. The same thing, Maliki Yawmiddin, right? But then, when you say Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, هذا بيني وبين عبدي. Me and my slave. Why? Because, oh Allah, you're the only one that I worship, you're the only one that I seek help from. When you say, right, you're the only one that I worship, you're the only one that I seek help, are you really honest by saying that? Allah, meaning that this is like a covenant, you know, a contract between two people, right? Two people. The covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that you're making this promise, right? That Allah, you are the only one that I would worship, you are the only one that I seek help from. And then if you say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, this is for my slave, and for my slave whatever he asked for. The dua is accepted. So, who is the one that is going to receive this great reward from Allah? So when you're reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, you need to be honest and truthful. You're not supposed to be lying when you're reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. How can you lie? Is when you say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. If someone says this, and he fears other than Allah, or worship other than Allah, he's lying. Or he's seeking help from other than Allah. Seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Right? If you say, Maliki Yawmiddin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the owner of all things, and he's the owner of the day of judgment. Why? That right? That means you need to seek rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hereafter. You should remember, right, when it's time for the salah and you're playing, and the shaitan is telling you, it's so much fun to play basketball at this moment, right? And you want to delay the salah a little bit, right? You have to be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you. He's calling you to make the salah, right? If you're truthful with إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you, right? When you say Allahu Akbar from the beginning of the salah, that means what is the meaning of Allahu Akbar? Allah is the greatest, right? And what does that mean? You need to be truthful when you're saying it. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater than what you maybe want to do other than the salah, right? Is greater than what you're thinking about, is greater than this entire life, is more important than anything else in your life, because Allahu Akbar, right? This is the effect of being truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You understand what I'm trying to say here? So anything that you say in the salah, make sure that you're honest when you're saying it. Otherwise a person is in the salah, he's just doing some physical movements and he's lying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the sadiqeen with truthful words. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test each and every one of us when it comes to matters of sidq, matter of truthfulness. And this is the one word that the ulama in the times of the early generations of Islam, when someone repents to Allah or become a Muslim, and he would say, I want one word that makes things easy for me. You know, you have so many things to do in the deen, right? They used to tell them just one thing. Stay on sidq, be truthful, be honest and truthful. If you're honest and truthful at all times, with all the different types of truthfulness, you will be good, you'll be steadfast on the sirat al-mustaqim. Even if you don't know much now, every time you get to know something, you'll apply it because you're truthful. So always be truthful, always be honest. Never lie, not just to human beings, but also to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. Okay? I don't want to take too much of your time. You have any questions with sidq or truthfulness?
Maybe even though, even we have the our daughters on another side, if they want to make questions, write it up on a piece of paper, and we send somebody like Sulaiman or somebody.
If you have any questions, write it down inshallah ta'ala, and we'll send someone to bring the questions inshallah if you have any questions. question.
And you also.
The kids sometimes they say something and we say, is it right? They say, oh, I'm just kidding. Did you mention that already to them? Or?
Right. No, actually, we were talking just about one part of sidq, one part of truthfulness, which is the truthfulness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, there are different types of sidq, truthfulness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by following him, alone alayhi salatu wasalam, and truthfulness with ourselves. You're truthful with yourself. You want to save yourself from the hellfire, be truthful, be honest. You want to enter Jannah? Then you have to take the means that will make you enter Jannah. But if you say, I want to enter Jannah, I don't want to be among the people of the hellfire, but you're taking the path that leads to the hellfire, you're not being honest and truthful. Right? You know the story of the guy that, it's not a true story, but they mentioned it as, I'm not lying, but imagine, right? Imagine the guy's laying right there, and someone's telling him, move, the train is going to come and kill you. He says, oh, you're kidding or something. Go away. And he keeps on, ordering him to leave, and he doesn't listen till the train comes and take him away. Right? That person is crazy, right? So when we live our life and someone is telling us, fear Allah, be dutiful to Allah, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, stay away from sins, there's the hellfire is waiting, the Jannah also is waiting, and that person doesn't care. If he says words, he's either truthful or lying, right? But going to the point of kidding or joking, right? As a Muslim, if you say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, one thing that you should never compromise is a sidq, and that is to be honest and truthful. Even if you're joking, there's no such a thing as it's permissible to lie if the other side knows exactly that you're lying, right? Like for example, if I sit here and I say, I was driving my car and all of a sudden it flew up in the air, and then I went to the sea, and then something happened, and then right? That I'm lying, right? Does it justify for me that I would say something like this that is very obvious? No, this is a lie, right? So actually the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَيْلُ اللَّهِ لِمَنْ كَذَبَ لِيُضْحِكَ النَّاسِ. Why people lie sometimes? To make people laugh, jokes and things like this. Prophet ﷺ said, woe to him, 3 times. The one that lies to make people laugh. Sometimes you're saying something happened to you and you exaggerate so that people laugh, right? You're lying. Even if you're saying the truth, but you're adding some things to it, right? This is all lying. Don't lie to make people laugh, right? Be honest and truthful, and never lie. Whether you're joking or not joking, at any condition, right? Make sure that you say the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "As-sidqu tuma'nina wal-kadhib riba." As-sidq, truthfulness, is tuma'nina, give you tranquility in your heart. The happiest person is the honest and truthful one. Al-kadhib, lying, is riba. Riba means that you're always scared. You think that somebody's going to come and get you. Right? Do you know these things? Like if you lie, right? What happens? You're waiting. What if somebody catch me? What if somebody catch my lie? Right? But if you're honest and truthful, you said the truth. You don't care. You're not afraid of anything. And that's why when you're always truthful, this is the real happiness in this life. So no joking about lying, or no making fun of anyone, or all of these things. Shaitan whispers to us so that we get used to lying. Any other questions?
They should ask any question, because maybe they think if it's maybe silly question, they should ask. Because any question.
No silly questions. That means there's no question is silly. Any questions? Otherwise, I'll ask you questions.
Yeah.
Should I ask? When somebody maybe read something about it, it's permissible to lie in certain situations. Anybody read something like this before? Do you think there's a situation where it's permissible to lie?
It's like depending on someone's life, right?
When someone is depending on one's life, right? When someone has a gun on his head, right? Either he says the truth and he will die, or if he lies, the guy can leave him. What do you think that person should do? You're allowed to lie.
On your wife?
Hmm?
On your wife?
اللي بالك عبد الرحمن عارف he knows what's going on ما شاء الله.
Allah musta'an.
Allah musta'an. But it's not like lying.
No,
right?
he's like a
Right. I'll explain inshallah. So, you know that Ammar ibn Yasir, radiallahu anhu, when he was tortured so much, and they ordered him to say words of disbelief, of kufr, right? So he said the word of disbelief to relieve himself from being tortured, right? So that was lying. That's the biggest lie ever, when someone says a word of disbelief. But he wanted to save himself from this great torment that he was in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in the Quran, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ. That means unless someone is forced and his heart is content with Iman, there's no sin on that person. So in a situation like this, this is permissible, right? But see how the situation is a matter of life and death. It's like, when is it permissible to eat pork? If you're hungry? No. When is it permissible? If a person is dying now, right? And he thinks to himself that if I don't eat that piece of this is, imagine a situation where there is no other food on the face of earth in front of him except this one piece of pork or whatever, and he is certain, he can say, Wallahi, I'm dying, starving. And the only way to save himself and to save his life is to eat just a few bites to sustain his life. Then it becomes, even some said, mandatory for him to eat that. What is sufficient, what is enough to keep him alive, right? So see that level of necessity, not that it would make his life easy or difficult or whatever. No, this is a matter of life and death. So that's a different situation. Also, one of the permissible means, but sometimes it's different. When we talk about the exceptions, sometimes people, they say, oh, so that means they would lie in more things. You have two people that are not talking to each other. Is it permissible for two Muslims to dispute and never to talk to each other? Is it permissible?
Yeah.
It's permissible?
You tell one guy like that the other guy said something you don't like, you tell the other guy he said something.
No, I'm saying, is it permissible to what do you call it? To dispute with someone that you don't talk to each other, right? What's the maximum? How many days that if you're fighting with someone you don't want to talk? 3 days, right? And after that, they have to at least give salam to each other, right? So say for example, that two people are angry with each other, they're not talking to each other, right? You can say something, not lying, not clear lying, but you can say something that can mean more than one thing to bring peace between them, right? You can say, for example, about one of them, you go to one person and you say, you know what, he says nice words about you. And you mean that he said that maybe 10 years ago, right? But to make their hearts back again together, right? This is a situation where it's okay. But not to clearly lie, but to say something that can mean more than one thing, right? And the thing is, for a man with his wife, or even you can say that, for example, to say nice words when you don't really sometimes mean it, right? When you say, for example, to your mother, you're the best mother on the face of earth. Is that truthfulness? It's exaggeration, right? Because there's maybe a mother better than this particular mother, right? If you say to someone, you're the best teacher ever, right? It's a lie, right? Most probably it's a lie, right? But these types of things, right, it's okay. It's not of a clear lie or anything, unless some actions are depending on this.
I have a question. So, there's some stories that you have to make up and exaggerate them.
Wallahi, this is one thing, is like the question is in school that sometimes you have to make up stories and you exaggerate them. And everybody know that this is not true and so on. Honestly, you shouldn't. Unless you're saying something as an example, as a metaphor or something like this. Like, remember 2 days ago, there was Fajr. I'm not sure if anybody attended. I mentioned, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he mentioned a story that is not real. But to take an example from it, he said, it's a fairy tale. They say, imagine there was a mouse, right? he liked a camel, right? So he went to the camel and took the rope of the camel, and he, dragged the camel to come to his house because he liked this camel, right? So when the camel came to the house of the mouse, the house of the mouse is, it's a hole in the, like Tom and Jerry, something like this. So the camel, when he stood there, he cannot fit there, right? So he said to the mouse, listen, either you have a house that fits the one that you like, which is the camel, right? Or get someone that you like that can fit your house. You understand? Either you like someone that can fit your house, if you want to invite him, or have a bigger house that can fit me. So Ibn al-Qayyim, why did he mention this story? Because he said the same thing with your salah, with your prayers, right? Either you make your salah in a way that fits, or is appropriate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Or worship other than Allah that can be appropriate for your salah that you make. If you're making a salah like this, you're not paying attention to what you say, you're making just some exercise, physical exercise, you're not paying attention to what you say, you can't wait till you're done with the salah. It's so much burden on you, right? Is that the prayer that is appropriate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that created you? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala treats you the same way, no breathing for you today, right? Would you like this? Right? So when people praying as just an example of the salah, right? Or then they should worship or pray to some other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is even worse. So that means he used this example to show us that if you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then your salah is supposed to be appropriate according to this truthfulness. If you're truthful about that, your salah, it will show in your salah. If you truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will pray appropriately. You would reflect upon what you say in the salah. Yes, the shaitan whispers and so on, but you work on yourself. When you struggle with yourself, this is a great thing. This is a rewardable thing. If you leave yourself and relax, and you just follow your desires, you grow up to be the lousiest person on the face of earth, right? If someone wants to have a lot of money, what happens? People have to work hard. The same thing, if you want to be righteous, work on yourself, right? Don't be lazy. Be honest, and truthfulness would require for you to exert yourself, to do things against your desire and what you like. But the outcome is great, right? And you would never regret it. But if you follow your desires now, you'll regret later that you missed out on the best thing ever, and that is to be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What else? No questions from the sisters? Everybody? Who's the youngest one here?
Sliman, you the youngest, go to another room and see if they have questions. Go ahead. I'm bringing the Sheikh, inshallah. Second door. I'm not sure.
So, you guys, the benefit of what is being said. So, how are we going to be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Can someone give me an example how to be truthful with Allah? MashaAllah. To act in the same way that you say, right? So, as an exercise to this, when you are in salah, watch what you're saying in salah. Watch what you say in the salah, right? So anything that you say in salah, be truthful and honest in what you say. If you're memorizing the Quran and you get to know the meanings, be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in what you're saying.
I have a question, like for the kids, when they memorize the Quran, would they call themselves I'm Hafiz such and such? Or, sometimes they rank themselves and say, I'm Hafiz. Or if you are, throwing a party for them and you're distributing a card or invitation, should we write like Hafiz such and such? Almost like, even the adults when they get married, they write Hafiz such and such, getting married with such and such. So
Wallahi, there's differences between encouraging one another and to fall into showing off. It's a fine line. So if it's you're encouraging a younger brother, you're hafid of the Quran, you're respecting, because we're ordered to respect those who memorize the Quran. The people of the Quran, we have to honor them and respect them. but it brings a huge responsibility on the one that is Hafiz of the Quran. Why? Because this is a fitna, this is a trial for him. Because that can cause him to be arrogant. And he can think that he's done, he's said, he's a Hafiz, everybody respect him. So he will always expect that people would respect him. And if people doesn't honor him, then he would feel unease inside of him, which is a bad sign. So that's why if it's in the context of encouraging someone, mashallah, this is good. But to be given a title for the rest of one's life in a way that, and he's talking about himself, I am Hafiz of the Quran. No, we're supposed to hide our deeds, unless it has to be shown, like in our salah and so on. And to be with, why should we do this? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best who's been accepted and who's not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to accept your deeds, right? So if it's not done for the sake of Allah, it is of no benefit. We have to do it only for the sake of Allah. So there's a lot of exaggeration with giving a title and things like this.
How you can get that to the point to come out like to kill your ego, kill your showing off?
Right. To be humble, and to make sure that you don't have this arrogance, is just to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by default. This is, to be in need, this is something that does not leave a human being. There's no such a thing that you would reach a level in which you won't be in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there anybody on the face of earth is like this? No. The richest man, the most powerful person on the face of earth, he is in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for just one breath even to take. He's in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So the arrogance is a sign of stupidity, with all due honesty, right? If someone is arrogant, he's foolish, right? The arrogant is foolish. That's if you want to think good about him, right? And that's why to humble ourselves, remember, who you are and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors you when you are a believer, when you are a good person and so on. And this honor comes from your actions by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't be arrogant. And that's, when people are, you see how human beings, it doesn't matter if they're grown-ups or not, if they're intellect or not, human beings, they fall into this trap of being foolish. Like, for example, when people would discriminate against one another because of the color of their skin. Isn't that the most silliest thing that you can ever think of? If it's little kids doing this, you'd say they're little kids, but grown-ups, people that have degrees and went to schools and things like this, they would discriminate against each other because of the color of their skin. What does that have to do with the person? Goodness or badness or intellect? Isn't that silly? But you see how human beings are very silly, right? Unless they are believers. If they're not believers, they fall into these silliness things, right? So we have to, with honesty and truthfulness, a person would exactly know. And that's why when you think, you need to think this way. The more you gain knowledge, the more you think like this, the more it gives you, it's all means to be strong on the deen and to be steadfast on the deen.
This is any way that for our kids to respect the teachers or to respect their parents, a special way for a Muslim, how to respect their teachers, because sometimes I see some even in the Hafiz, they take an advantage of the teacher going to the bathroom, they leave them without guidance, and they suddenly make it a lot of noise and they don't even pay attention to no one.
I don't think anybody's like that here, is it? We all know that to respect those who are older than us is part of our religion, correct? Would you like to be treated with disrespect? Right? It doesn't need a genius to understand that, correct? But human beings, right, they are, for the most part, they have dhulm, they commit injustice. How is that? If they have the ability to do bad, they would do bad, but they don't want people to treat them in a bad way, right? So when you have someone that is teaching you, that means that this person is doing you a great favor, right? Sometimes this favor is much more than the favor of food and drink itself, especially if someone is teaching you your deen, someone is teaching you how to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore they have right on us. There is to respect and to have shyness and to have goodness, and the word that we say, we don't speak to everybody the same way, right? The way that you would speak to your friend is different than when you speak to your parents, is different than when you speak to your teachers, right? We have to have that level of respect to people, and to be honest and truthful in this, and not just to be worried about the punishment in this life, but to do this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in a hadith, you guys paying attention? The one that does not respect and honor the older of the Muslim, the elders of the Muslim, laysa minna, he's not one of us. The one that la yukrim di shayba Muslim, the one that does not respect a Muslim that has gray hair. If someone has a gray hair, right, and you don't respect him, the Prophet ﷺ said he's not one of us. That means he's not a good Muslim, right? That means you have to respect those who are older than you.
Some people are born with
Yeah, if they're born with the gray hair, respect them too. Even actually, you want to tell you something? If you have an older brother, in the deen, your older brother, even if he's older than you by 1 year, you should respect him. Now the older brothers are looking. Hey, see this? You have to respect
Tell you
him.
about it.
And the older brother is supposed to have kindness, not to abuse this, and to say to his younger brother, you need to listen to what I'm saying. This is true. That's why the responsibility of the older brother. How many people here are the oldest among their brothers and sisters? Inshallah. Didn't you feel sometimes that this is, oh, I wish I wasn't the older one? Because you're always reminded of this, right? But at the same time, you have a great responsibility, but also they have to listen to you. You understand that? That if you're a younger brother, you have to listen to your older brother. Unless he order you to do something haram, which is sin, then you don't listen to him. So the issue of respect is not just to the parents. Anyone that is older than you is supposed to be treated different than someone that is younger than you. You have mercy, you have compassion, you're trying to have concern towards them because they don't know, they're younger than you. So you teach them, you take care of them. You're not being a boss on them, right? You're caring for them. See, when relationship is like this, it's so nice, right? Imagine yourself and your older brother. You listen to what your older brother says to you, you respect him, and he's at the same time, he has so much concern towards you, he helps you, he protects you from harm. Isn't that sounds very nice? But when they're all the same and they fight with each other, this is all bad things.
Any specific, treatment with the sister, younger sister than younger brother?
The same thing.
Same thing.
The older sister, she should be respected.
Now the older brother, how should he treat with the sister or younger brother? Same level, or you think the sister has more?
For the boys,
More boys.
right? Take it as a rule, right? Your sister, of course, your mother, your sister, your grandmother, whatever female in your family, she's supposed to be treated in much nicer way than boys and men and so on. Take this as a rule, right? Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Istawsu bin nisa'i khayr." Take care of the women. This is an order of the Prophet ﷺ. That's why they are not to be treated the same. We're not people of equality, by the way, right? We're people of justice, and the justice is that you treat the women in your family much better than you treat the men. You treat everybody good, but the women extra good, right? So if you have a brother and a sister, you treat them all with goodness and respect, but your sister has more rights on you. You're supposed to be more kind to her, right? Even as for parents. And it's not being treating children in an injustice, right? But the way the girl is raised is different than the boy when he's raised, right? Girls should be given more kindness and things like this, right? So this is something that you have to think about, because this is what the Prophet ﷺ, he ordered us to do that. You have to be extremely kind to them.
This advice, Sheikh, for the older brothers or for everybody?
For everybody. If you have a sister, you have a treasure that you can get a lot of rewards by being kind and respectful to your sister. What if she's not treating you well? It's okay. That's what it's meant. She's bad to you, but you're very kind to her. For the sake of Allah.
Any questions from this?
No, nothing. King.
we can ask them if they want, they can write it.
I think somebody went there, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Sulaiman went there. And nobody gave him anything.
Sheikh Muhammad.
One more time, inshallah.
Go Abdul Sulaiman. Go one more time, Jiddu.
You know them better than me.
No, no, sir, I will not say that. But I have a question, Sheikh, about because we were saying about truthfulness with Allah. One of the important things after Shahada is Salah. And Salah, we know it's an amana. Yes, parents, they can remind our kids, did you pray, did you not pray? But what about if the parents, they are not there? How can we keep maintaining the Salah, especially this morning, I hear you recite the ayah, that the believers, da'imun ala Salah. So can we talk about this?
Inshallah. The Salah being the second pillar of Islam, the most important deed of your day, right? You heard many things about the importance of the Salah, right? But the question that you need to ask yourself is, are you still among those who you have to be told to go to the Salah? Are you among those who have to be waken up to go to Salah or to pray Fajr? Or you wake up yourself? If you don't wake up yourself, you have a problem. If you don't wake up for Salatul Fajr yourself, you have a problem, you need to work on yourself. And I don't care how old you are. Right? Meaning that this is something in your mind, I have to work on myself. This is a weakness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in such a way that at Fajr Salah you have no right to sleep whatsoever. You have no right to sleep. Your body does not need sleep at the time of Fajr. If you say, well, you wake up, I want to sleep. If I wake up now, it's going to make me sleepy throughout the day. You're lying. Remember when we said you have to be truthful? Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that ordered us to wake up for Fajr Salah, He's the one that created us and knows what's best for us and what works best for us. Right? So if you're saying this, you're lying, or you're doing something else wrong. You slept very late. Right? It's a sunnah to sleep after Salatul Isha. Right? If you don't have anything benefiting to do after Salatul Isha, it is disliked for you to sleep or to stay awake afterwards, unless there's a reason why you're awake. So this is another thing that you need to do. After Salatul Isha, you went home. You don't wait for someone to ask you this. Ask yourself, why am I awake? You can say, well, I'm studying because I have an exam tomorrow. Okay, but not too much, right? Don't stay too much. You can say, well, we just have a guest now, I need to say salam to the guest. Okay, right? So there's a reason. But if, right? And you take turns in this. Okay? So, salah. So this is just one aspect of it, right? You're playing, or you're busy, or whatever you're doing, right? And it's time for the salah. How many times? This is a shameful thing. When someone has to go and tell you, everybody, you need to go to the masjid because it's time for salah, this is shameful. You should be, with all due respect, you should be ashamed of yourself. Why? Because you don't need anybody to tell you it's time for the salah, go make salah. This is a covenant between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is your duty. This is what you're created for. Right? There are certain things that makes our life so easy for us. Right? Which is the goals and the needs. Salah is a goal in your day. This is the goal of your day, is that you establish the salah in the most perfect way. Everything else is purpose. So why you eat? So that I make salah. Why do I sleep? So that I wake up for the salah. Why I'm breathing? So that I make salah on time. Right? Why do I have a new coat? So that you're not, you don't get sick when you go to the masjid. Everything is for the salah. Otherwise, if you have the nice clothing and you're eating and drinking and you're doing all of these things but not for the sake of Allah, you will be punished for these things in the Day of Judgment. Did you know that the disbelievers will be punished for every bite of food that they take in this life? Why? Because they're supposed to be grateful with the food that they eat, that they worship Allah. So you've been honored and gifted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you parents, that they would wake you for salah, bring you to the masjid and so on. This is your job as a human being, is to do the 5 daily salah the most perfect way, without anybody reminding you. For the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the fear of Allah, for hoping for the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah, we have 3 minutes, inshallah, if there's any more questions, you have to benefit from the share.
Question about videos. or video game?
I think Abu Bakr, you have a question, Sheikh. The young brothers who go to school, and especially the public schools, they don't mind the management to allow them to take a break from the period for the time of the salah, but the parents, they have to write a notice, and they allow the kids to go. So Abu Bakr one time he asked, but there's other Muslims, they don't pray. If the other Muslims, they don't pray, I should be shy not to ask for the time for the salah? Or
This is a very good question. Right? It's a very sad thing when you see a Muslim that it's time for the salah and he doesn't care. That should make you sad, right? And you should have concern towards them because maybe they don't know. But you have a bigger responsibility now, and that is you're supposed to be strong and you're supposed to make your salah even if you're the only one in the entire world that is making salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't say that you're excused because you're the only one or the other people are not making salah. No, each one of us will come in the day of judgment alone. We've been ordered to make salah, we're ordered to do things on time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us about this, regardless whether people did it or not. Plus, to be a strong person is not to follow the crowd. Following the crowd, not necessarily something good, it's usually something bad. Why? Because we know what is right and what is wrong, and be the one that is leading this. If you're patient, you never know how many people they would follow you and you become the reason for them to be guided. If you're honest and truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you might be the only one that goes for the salah. But believe it or not, people will start to imitate you. If you're honest, many people will be doing the same thing, and you get the rewards every time they make salah. You get the reward, the same reward that they get without decreasing the rewards. So definitely, shyness is to be shy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That He ordered us to make salah now, and we're shy from the human beings and we don't make salah. It's a very bad thing. So seeking help from Allah, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me strength. Especially that they're allowing you. Imagine that they're not allowing you and you would still make salah. And you should make salah. But alhamdulillah, they're allowing you, so you should take advantage of that and advise people. Tell the other Muslims, it's time for salah, why don't you come for the salah? Tell your parents to write a note so that we can make salah al-dhuhr. Especially in the winter time. It's major sin for someone intentionally to miss a salah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the days very short in the winter time for a reason. And in the summer time it's stretched out. That means you are supposed to pray dhuhr at dhuhr time, asr time. Even if it's after an hour away, it doesn't matter. Right? You have to make sure that the salah is done on time. Otherwise, it's very close to even kufr when someone intentionally misses the salah till the next salah time comes in. There's no sin bigger than this after the tawheed, the oneness of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how many people every day they waste their salah because the time is very short. So you have to be very careful with this.
Sheikh, how about the kids? Sometimes they need answer for sitting in the bathroom late and they miss the salah. So
Right.
can you just have some light on that? They should not be wasting time much or trying to lose the salah time.
If we're honest and truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our life will be totally different. You know that when you're trying to skip the salah, for example, and shaitan whispers laziness, so you would find yourself an excuse to go to the bathroom and stay longer there. Maybe the salah time will passes, or you would miss going to the masjid or something like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in our hearts. If a person claims that he's sick, for example, it's easy to say that, right? And you'll get all kinds of attentions and so on. But you're lying, and you never know that maybe you really get sick as a result of this. So never think that being honest and truthful would something that you would regret later. It's the total opposite. So be honest and truthful and seek rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to give a clear example, if that person in the bathroom and he's told, if you miss the salah, and everybody in the masjid will get $1 million today, right? Would that person continue to be in the bathroom? He'll get done immediately, right? And he'll make wudu and be in the masjid. There's $1 million, right? To make salah in the masjid is not even million or 2 million or 4 millions or whatever millions. It's far more than this. In the day of judgment, people would see it. Inshallah. So this is the level of honesty and truthfulness. You are doing a trade with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
جزاك الله خير يا شيخ.
بارك الله فيك.
جزاكم الله خير ما شاء الله. May Allah reward you inshallah.
سليمان.
May Allah reward the Sheikh.
سلم على الشيخ يلا.
What you have
قول
to
مين
say
انت؟
for the Sheikh.
اركض
جزاكم الله خير.
اركض 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 تريد روح تسلم على الشيخ. سلم على الشيخ سلم على الشيخ اركض اركض.
Sheikh Mustafa, can you announce inshallah the dars have to start now? Sheikh.